The baby's cry pierced through the hum of the airplane engines, sharp, desperate, and unrelenting. Passengers groaned, some rolled their eyes, others muttered complaints under their breath. But one woman didn't. Sitting 2 rows behind, Ella Hart, a 29-year-old music teacher with tired eyes and a soft heart, quietly unbuckled her seatbelt. As the baby's wails grew louder, she stood up, her voice trembling just slightly as she whispered to the flight attendant, "May I try something?" Moments later, she was kneeling beside a stranger, a man with unshaven cheeks, dark circles under his eyes, and a baby cradled awkwardly in his arms. The man looked defeated. And then Ella began to sing. Her voice was gentle, a lullaby from an old memory, trembling yet warm. The cabin, once filled with irritation and noise, slowly fell silent. Even the baby, little Sophie, stopped crying, her teary eyes blinking up at Ella as if recognizing something safe in her voice. The man, Daniel Ross, a billionaire tech entrepreneur known to the world but not to her, looked up in awe. He hadn't seen his daughter this calm since his wife died 6 months ago. What started as a simple act of kindness would change both their lives forever. The lullaby in the clouds. Ella never planned to be on that flight. Her original ticket had been cancelled after a storm delayed her connection, forcing her onto this later route from New York to London. She hated flying, but this trip wasn't for pleasure, it was for escape. After losing her job when her small-town music school shut down, Ella was taking a risk. She'd been invited to audition for a teaching position at a London arts academy. Music was her passion, her comfort, the one thing that had always carried her through the hardest times. But at that moment, 30,000 feet above the ocean, her thoughts were interrupted by a baby's desperate cries. She saw the man struggling, trying to rock the baby, whispering soothing words that came out cracked and unsure. He looked too composed to be helpless, yet too broken to ask for help. Ella recognized that kind of pain, quiet, hidden, but heavy. When she sang, she wasn't just trying to calm the baby, she was soothing something inside herself too. Her voice wrapped around the cabin like a blanket of peace, soft and human. As the last note faded, Daniel looked at her, speechless. "Thank you," he said quietly, his voice rough. "I don't usually," she just. "It's okay," Ella smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Babies cry. It's their way of talking." He smiled faintly, the kind of smile that looked like it hadn't been used in a long time. "I'm Daniel." "Ella," she said simply. For the rest of the flight, Sophie slept soundly in her father's arms, while Ella returned to her seat, unaware that the man she'd helped was one of the most influential entrepreneurs in the world, and that her small act of compassion would ripple far beyond that flight. 2 weeks later, Ella was struggling in London. Her audition hadn't gone as planned, nerves had gotten the better of her. Rent was piling up, and she was starting to lose hope. Then one morning, she received an email. "Dear Miss Hart. I don't know if you remember me, we met on the plane to London. My daughter hasn't stopped smiling when she hears your lullaby recording I made. Would you consider giving her private lessons? Daniel Ross." Ella hesitated. A part of her worried it would be strange, working for a man she barely knew. But another part whispered, "What do you have to lose?" When she arrived at the Ross estate, she was stunned. The mansion looked more like a piece of art than a home. Yet inside, it felt cold, sterile, and quiet, a house full of luxury but void of laughter. Sophie's eyes lit up when she saw her. The baby giggled, reaching for Ella's hair, and something inside Daniel softened at the sight. Weeks turned into months. Ella taught Sophie songs and rhythms, sometimes even singing softly to Daniel as he worked nearby. Slowly, she brought warmth back into their world, through music, laughter, and gentle presence. But Daniel wasn't just any man. He was still grieving the loss of his wife, Clara, who had been the heart of their family. He blamed himself for her death. She'd passed in childbirth while he was away on business. His guilt had silenced the music in their home. One evening, as a storm raged outside, the power went out. Ella found Daniel sitting by the piano, staring at it like it was a ghost.